our cultures aren't the same. And I thought, we've been taught that that's what makes America great. I thought it was. I love tacos. I like mayonnaise. I like Indian cuisine. I like all types of stuff. That's a part of being in America. But these people don't feel that way. Good morning, y'all. Welcome back to another episode of Erin in Real Life, where you get a bunch of everything on this page. I do some reaction videos, and I also do some vlogging. But today I'm going to react. I woke up pretty sad today. I went to bed sad, but I woke up sad because as soon as I get on social media, I start seeing so much stuff about political things that have happened this past week. And it really makes me wonder, where is this country going? I am not like a big political person, but I've been doing a little research. And, I just want to know, where do we go from here? So we're going to react to a couple TikToks that I thought was pretty informational, and we could get some background knowledge. If you don't know what the hell is going on in this country, today you're going to learn a little something. So it's not going to be a super long reaction video today. I'm just going to drop my 2 cents. We're going to watch and see from some sources that I think are pretty credible. If you feel like they're not credible, drop a comment. Let me know how you feel. So let's get into it. So this happened in Tennessee, May 7th, where they divided up the congressional votes and weakened the black voting power, as it says. So the reason why this is upsetting is because they're not the first state to pull this, basically getting us back in the direction of Jim Crow. They are, like, from what I know a lot of people that moved to Tennessee because they felt like it was a great place for black people to build families, buy property, and all that. So it's like, if a state like Tennessee is doing this, it's really only a matter of time before northern states, because southern states are already following suit. So it's only a matter of time before northern states kind of follow the same thing. Because I'm from Wisconsin. People, when you're in history class, and the U.S. educational system will teach you about Jim Crow, and they'll teach you about the Civil War in the southern states versus the northern states, and they paint a picture that the northern states didn't want slavery because it was wrong. No, they didn't want slavery because they understood, you know, they what they didn't like was that the southern states were getting free labor, and they're like, okay, well, we need to make this so we can get labor out of everyone. And their reasoning was more so based on financial reasons. It didn't really have anything to do with not liking not feeling like black people deserve not to be slaves. And no, because anybody who is a black person living in the Midwest, you understand that being here in Wisconsin, Illinois, Michigan, like these northern states, is it's more covert racism, meaning they have harsher laws when it comes to black people being incarcerated, when it comes to they have like underlying laws that are worse. So you come up here and it's just more covert racism. But now with the government that we have in place right now, he's making it so they don't care about being it's no covert, right? So it's like they don't care about being out in public. Let me pause right here. Let me show you something. How and I don't he's a Democrat, whatever, so but how are people of this age supposed to be creating laws for us? People of this age, no shade, no tea to him, but people of this age are the ones pushing these laws for us to basically go back to make America great again. Make America great again how it was back then for them. What scares me the most about this is we have black people have been tricked into being so integrated that we can't be independent. It's not that we can't, but it's like we've been so mind fucked into being like, oh, we have to segregation is bad and all that because we were taught that segregation was bad for black people because the few black people that are caught on video who were in the protests and all this, and they were like, oh, we need to be with you guys. They were leading us into destruction because in all reality, we didn't need to mingle. I'm sorry if this sounds like, I'm going in the opposite direction here, but I just feel like black people don't have any independence and we've lost all that and we've depended on this system who never cared for us in any way, shape, or form to have us in a state of delusion. And now we get back to this point where their true colors are showing. You got people of all colors standing in these crowds holding signs saying, kill the KKK. These people who were in the Klan, they didn't dismantle. They didn't go anywhere. All they did was go into our government. And that's what people don't understand. They went into the government, the hospitals, and the schools. And they made it a mission to cause destruction upon anyone who was not of the white race. So that's why you get government and policies like this. And they're on their last leg. I mean, I don't know if these people are getting heart surgeries back to back. These people are 80, 90 years old in the office. And they're like, before we leave out, we're going to make it extremely hard for anybody who comes in to turn things around. And that's where we're at with this. Let's continue.
What is gerrymandering? We all need to know what this is, so let's break it down in the simplest way possible. 435 seats in the United States House of Representatives, and these 435 seats are divided amongst the 50 states based on population, and that forms their congressional districts. The more people in your state, the more congressional districts you get. And the goal is for all congressional districts to have the same amount of people, and you'll see these districts redrawn in a practice called redistricting every 10 years or so when the census comes out to make sure that populations are equally represented. The issue is when gerrymandering comes in. Gerrymandering is the practice of redrawing districts to the advantage or disadvantage of a particular group or political party. For example, if you have 50 people, 60% of them orange, 40% of them purple, and you want to draw districts for these people, you want the people to be equally represented. This would be fair. This would be equitable. This is gerrymandering. Pause to read, pause to take it in. That's why what just happened in Tennessee is so problematic. Tennessee has 9 congressional districts. Only one of them is majority minority, and you want to give those people a voice. But this past week, Tennessee basically eliminated that entire congressional district. This is gerrymandering. You're seeing it happen all across the South, and you know there are bad intentions when the woman who's most likely going to be Tennessee's next governor says things like this. Let me know if this made sense or if you want me to go deeper into that bag and explain more. What is gerrymandering? We all need to know what this is.
I want to specifically find the part when he said that she made a comment, the soon to be. I just need to go back and see what he said about that part because I missed it. I wanted to catch it, so I'm going to see if I can catch it.
Redistricting every 10 years or so when the census comes out to make sure that populations are equally represented. The issue is when gerrymandering comes in. Gerrymandering is the practice of redrawing districts.
Bruh. They don't want us to thrive, chat. The hell is going on? Literally, what just happened? See? They on that fuck shit. Where'd the comments go? Like, what? Why is it not playing the sound?
Districts. Only one of them is majority minority, and you want to give those people a voice. But this past week, Tennessee basically eliminated that entire congressional district. This is gerrymandering. You're seeing it happen all across the South, and you know there are bad intentions when the woman who's most likely going to be Tennessee's next governor says things.
Let's see what she said. What's going on? What'd she say? She said, I urge our state legislation to redistrict another Republican seat in Memphis. It's essential to cement Donald J. Trump's agenda in the golden age of America. I vow to keep Tennessee a red state, and as a governor, I'll do everything I can to make this map a reality. Marsha Blackburn. Louisiana, South Carolina, they're all on the same agenda. Not only do I think it's a matter of these people are trying to do whatever it takes to make sure that their race, their power is still upheld generations in advance. I seen something where it said these people do not think for now, they think for decades ahead of time. And that's where Black people fall short, because a lot of us only think about now. A lot of us are very emotional creatures. So we're thinking about the now, and we're thinking about the right now and what I need right now, and these people don't think that way. These people are willing to suffer in their life as of the now to make sure their great grandkids they're willing to suffer the now to make sure that their great great grandkids it's They're willing to suffer the now to make sure their great 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 grandkids are doing what, never have to work, having businesses, inheriting funds and trusts. And people don't fully understand that. And America is one of the only places where we're a big melting pot, but it's so much segregation and covert racism and things of that sort where it's like in other countries they just keep it straight up. They're like, look, this is where we want these people and this is where we want these people and we're okay with that. And we want to keep our culture within our culture. We have gone 50, 60, 70 years now where it's like we've been melted into each other because we've been made to believe we are the same. Take what you want from that. I'm not saying we're not the same as we're not, one's better than the other. I'm just saying our cultures aren't the same. And I thought, we've been taught that that's what makes America great. I thought it was. I love tacos. I like mayonnaise. I like Indian cuisine. I like all types of stuff. That's a part of being in America. But these people don't feel that way. They don't feel that way. So that's what gerrymandering is. Let's move on.
Black history that you weren't taught in school. You likely know what Jim Crow was, but who was Jim Crow? How did he even get this name? Well, this man is actually this guy. It all starts with Thomas D. Rice, who was a playwright and performer. His most famous act by far was dressing up in blackface as a black man with exaggerated features and performing a song and dance called Jump Jim Crow. This act went mega viral, basically launching minstrel shows, which is where white men would dress up in blackface and make fun of black people by acting lazy, dumb, cowardly, all these different stereotypes. And in those shows, Jump Jim Crow was by far the most famous act. But how did it get the name? Well, back in the 1700s, racists referred to black people as crows, and it's not really certain why. And black men were usually referred to as boy or Jim. Basically this general name meant to depersonalize them. Just, hey, you all get the same name because you're all the same to us. I also used to wonder, why do they stand in this weird way? Well, the reason behind that is actually pretty dark. It actually came from the slaves themselves. See, they would notice the way that their owners and white elites would dance in this sort of posh, bougie, very formal, rigid way. And they would do the dance among themselves, sort of mocking their owners. The slave owners, getting a kick out of this, would often invite the slaves inside during parties to perform this dance for entertainment. They'd even have them compete against each other to see who did it the best, not knowing that the slaves were mocking them. Anyway, the winner of this competition would be awarded a cake, which is believed to be where the term "that takes the cake" or cakewalk comes from. So anyway, Jim Crow was not a real person, and the reason the racist laws got this name is likely just out of convenience. Two things that demean black people. Follow if you learned something. Black history that you weren't taught in school. You likely know what.
Yeah, we wasn't taught none of this. Ain't that crazy? The things that mean the most, you're never taught that. You're never taught any of that. We're taught about Harriet Tubman and the Underground Slave and the Underground Railroad and all this. It's like, we weren't taught about this. We weren't taught about modern day things that actually affect us. They've been affecting us. They affect us now. And now look at this. Look at where we're at.
This is Jim Crow 2.0. It's sick. Stone cold racism in a scale I never thought I'd see in my lifetime. Never have seen in my lifetime. It's all happening. Bringing us back to a pre-1960s world. It's jaw-dropping what's happening. It was jaw-dropping what Governor Landry did. He suspended a primary election where tens of thousands of people had already voted. Why? To redistrict two districts to eliminate black representation. I can't believe that we're experiencing this. My parents talked to me about this. I said, well, thank God it's not going to happen on my lifetime. And it's happening in real time. Anti-woke is anti-black. All these attacks on DEI, it's anti-black. Level of racism is sick. Rewriting history, censoring historical fact. Number of African Americans have been eliminated from key positions and posts. The Pentagon and elsewhere, it's sick. It's happening in the United States of America in the open. And it needs to be called out. So forgive me for reacting this way. And I feel a deep responsibility to do something about this, and nothing to do with me as governor, just as a human being. This is just Jim Crow 2.0. It's sick.
I should tell you, in Tennessee, a big slice of black residents in Memphis will now have their votes folded into a white county called Williamson County. Williamson County literally still has a Confederate flag on their county seal. But they'll have just the right size of a slice of black voters from Memphis to make sure they can never, with our other Memphis residents, elect a member of Congress of their choosing. There's a reason why people are calling this Jim Crow 2.0. This really is plainly an effort to drag us back to the post-Reconstruction era after the Civil War, right? The so-called redemption of the old Confederacy, where the slave states reverted to giving black Americans zero say in their own democracy. And the federal government let them do it. I should tell you, in Tennessee, a big slice of black residents in Memphis will now...
No taxation without representation. If we can't be represented, why are we paying tax? I don't understand this. I guess I don't understand a lot, but and really, it's not, when it comes to tax, it's not even a white or black thing, because we're paying taxes 3, 4, 5 times, 6 times over. And half the time, we're not even getting the things in our communities that should be provided due to us paying these taxes. This is sad. So yeah. I woke up, I saw this stuff, and I'm not gonna lie, y'all. I was pretty upset, because I'm just like, damn, what do we do now as a people? And anybody of any other race that feels that this is sad and this is sickening, I believe that we all should come together. Plain and simple. If these southern states are doing it, all I can think is, what is stopping certain northern states from doing it? What is stopping a state like Wisconsin? Because in Wisconsin, there's a ton of sundown towns I would never go to. I have been a wedding coordinator for the past 3.5, 4 years. And there are certain wedding places, because I've worked with a couple companies. And there was a contracted company that I worked with, and they aren't from Wisconsin. So there were certain weddings, and they were telling me, like, oh, are you available to go to this place? And I'm just like, looking at it like, Highland, Wisconsin. Am I available to go do a wedding in Highland, Wisconsin? Absolutely the fuck not. Am I available to go do a wedding in Janesville, Wisconsin? No, I'm not. I've only drove through these places, and when you drive through these places, you have to be careful. I don't like going through any place I'm not familiar with. And even more recently, just out in Brookville, which is in Waukesha County, which is a county west of Milwaukee County, last year, there was a body hanging from a tree, a black man. Hanging from the tree, visible from the highway, and guess what? It was never on the news. It was only something that was talked about on social media. People saw it from the highway. They called the police. They never put things like this in the local news. Why? Because the people who watch the local news, like Generation X, my parents, people born between late 60s to 80s, right? They don't know about this stuff, but they are avid watchers of the news. So they think that everything is okay. We have to have everyone informed about what's going on. And if you're with it, then you're with us, and we need to figure out what we're going to do. But I don't know. This stuff makes me upset because I do a lot of work in customer service, and I do a lot of work where I work with different clients of all races. And it's upsetting because you see things like this and then you get in your feelings and you're like, oh my God. But I work with a lot of people, and I don't get this vibe. Or I don't get that that everyone's racist. It is all about perception, but in the same sense, we do need to be aware of what's going on in our surrounding areas and in our country. So that's it for today. That's all I'm reacting to today. I don't feel my best. I do have a get ready with me video coming out. I have 2 of them. I have one getting ready of me with a field trip for my kids, and a getting ready with me for a wedding. So y'all tap into those. And thank you for anyone who's followed and watching and like and subscribe. Y'all have a good day.